Hey team, Craig Robbins here. Craig and Mary, Team DOTERRA Los Angeles, coming back at you with 5 minutes on business. I want to talk to you today about a concept that it will really help you understand other people. It's a super basic concept. Some of you have probably heard of this one before, but I'll take maybe a slightly different stab at it. We're going to talk about the concept of helping figure out what's in it for other people, how you can help other people, help them get what they want rather than get what you want. And there's a big difference between what you want and what they want. And so what we want to do is we want to get you into that mindset. So let's go ahead and share screens and get going. Okay, so how do you get people to pay attention? Usually you get people to pay attention by helping them solve their own problems or solve an issue they have for themselves. You don't get people to pay attention by having them pay attention to your solved problems or to you. They'll give you a little bit of time and they'll be courteous about it, but people really ultimately care about themselves. They care about what's happening for themselves, and you can never apologize for that. Human beings are wired for that. So I like to tell people that human beings have this ultimate sort of selfish, they're kind of thinking about, what you're talking about, and they're trying to figure out how that applies to them. And so we have an acronym that we use, okay? And we use it called WIIFM, W-I-I-F-M, okay? And some of you probably heard this before. The concept of WIIFM is a basic concept of thinking through what's in it for me. That's what all the people we're talking to are ultimately saying. I love hearing about your story about how you got well, or how you fixed your back, or how your son improved his health with doTERRA oils, or how you made money in your business, or, that's great. Wow, how inspiring, but what's in it for me? That's what people are going to be thinking, W-I-I-F-M. And your job is to quickly turn your story around to what's in it for them. Because the longer you spend on yourself and the longer you spend indulging in your story and how amazing that you've come through it, the less important it is for them, because they're just still asking themselves what's in it for them. And so a lot of times you think, well, if I tell them my story, and my story is so epic, that they're going to figure out what's in it for them, because they're just going to, they're going to be able to pull and draw out those ideas. And it doesn't work that way. People don't generally think like that. They don't pull those ideas out. They're asking the question and they're hoping that you're going to answer. So our job is to get it so that you answer that question. Okay? So here's the way I like to do it. I like to say that you're going to know when you're getting to the what's in it for them when certain things happen. Okay? And when certain things happen. And so what we like to say is that really great brands and really great offerings are considered heroic in the marketplace. And people think of you as a hero. And so if you get to the point where you do something and it's heroic, and someone says something to you and they say something like, finally, someone ... Okay, that means you're in the heroic zone. You have done something heroic for them. Okay, finally, someone figured out how to make a car that gets 50 miles to the gallon. Toyota was considered heroic by creating the Prius for that. Finally, okay, finally, somebody made a computer easy to use. Apple absolutely landed that one. And then the iPad, and it just keeps getting easier. All right, finally, I have a cool place to get a cup of coffee. Starbucks solved that problem. But because a lot of people, before that, coffee was at McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts. It wasn't a cool place to go hang out. Finally, somebody had an airline that I can fly, that I can afford, and that was Southwest Airlines. That was a finally. Okay, so these are considered heroic when people start stating that. And so what you want them to do is state things like that. Finally, I made a healthy grocery store. That would be Whole Foods. But for us, finally, someone solved my seasonal allergies, in a natural way. Or finally, somebody gave me a natural product to manage my pain. Or finally, somebody had a home-based business that I could get into. Again, there's this concept that you're being a hero for them, and they're really paying attention to that. That's when you know you're in the WIIFM zone. So your job is to go back and look at the people you're working with and ask yourself, do I know what the WIIFM is for them? Or am I spending all my time talking to them about my issues? But what about their issues? So I would encourage all of you to sit down and think through, what is the WIIFM for each one of the people that I'm dealing with, and what's happening for them? How are they, what are they benefiting out of that? What are they getting out of that? Don't just tell them that, hey, you got DDR Prime, tell them what DDR Prime is doing for them so that they can give you a finally. And if they don't give you a finally, no one's going to say, hey, finally somebody made On Guard. No one's going to say that. What they're going to say is, finally somebody made this product that's natural that'll help me from getting a cold called On Guard. Okay, so that's what you want to get it to the point where they internalize it, and it's important to them. And so once you do that, then it's going to be your job to move forward and getting them to think more about how the WIIFM applies to them. This is what doTERRA is really good at doing, because doTERRA, what they do, once you've kind of connected in your WIIFM, they do these three things that are on the board in front of you right now. They're continuously educating their customer or prospect for the life of the advantages and benefits of the self-serving results your product or services bring to them that no one else does, can, or will. So they're addressing the self-serving results of the customer, which is you and me and everyone that we're working with. Number two, they intelligently formulate a process of increasing their demand or desire for the products. So they basically make it so you want to have more. They do the special BOGO specials. They do the oil of the month. They come out with derivatives of, On Guard keeps expanding, that kind of thing. That's how they're moving forward and getting you to want to get more. And then ultimately, they have a strategic process of bringing you or us or the customer to closure. Closure meaning action, making a decision, giving them a basis for discriminating on your behalf. In other words, they're teaching you how to discriminate, why this is better than the stuff you find at the farmer's market or at the grocery store, why the oils are better. And doTERRA will help you do this constantly. So your job is to get the WIIFM and then lock people into the doTERRA methodology, because doTERRA is constantly working on these three things. And I think you'll find that that will help you grow your business. The more you spend on your stuff and the less you spend on their WIIFM, the less effective this next step 1, 2, and 3 are going to be. So I would encourage you this week to be thinking about the people that you're working with that have really only heard about what you're up to, but you haven't really heard about what they're up to. See if you can get into their WIIFM. See if you can figure that out. And see if you can't use that to help expand their interest in the product and their interest in doTERRA and their interest in maybe sharing it with other people. So with that, I look forward to the results that you come out with that. You can share that with Mary and I, and we'll talk to you next week.